Hey guys, I wanted to kind of give a little bit more in-depth discussion regarding the health policy paper that you'll be completing here in the next couple of weeks. Just to let you know that your first draft will be due week 7. So that will be October 6th, that Thursday morning, your health policy, your first draft will be due. Just know that you're going to submit your first draft on the Blackboard discussion board. It is already there. I'm going to I will assign you points, 10 points for basically making sure the information is there, and also that you do it on a timely basis, because it is critical that you get it in on time so that your peer reviewer has plenty of time to look at your paper and review that as well. So make sure that you submit that on Blackboard, and then the peer reviewer of your paper will have a week to go over the paper. Make sure you make comments, look at their APA, grammar, does the content flow well, does it make sense to you? I would encourage you to take the rubric as you're grading the paper, as you're reviewing it, and making sure that your peer has identified every point that's listed in that rubric, and even grade them on the rubric. What would you grade them? You can even give them the rubric back along with their paper and say, hey, this is what I would give you as points for this paper if I was grading it myself. So you can always do that and submit it back to them. Just to let you know, your peer review partner is listed under, if you go to your health policy paper tab on Blackboard, and here is a list of the peer review list. And it's not one to open up. Whenever you open up, you and your partner are listed side by side. Okay, the last group does have 3 people in your group because we do have an odd number, and I put in parentheses which student that you'll be reviewing in that group of 3. So if you have any questions regarding that list, please let me know, and I'll be happy to explain that to you if you have any comments. So looking at the health policy paper, again, this is why we are doing this paper. We're not just trying to give you some extra work to do, but we want you to make sure that you're meeting the outcome of the BSN Essential, implications of the healthcare policy on issues of access, equity, affordability, and social justice. Also, our course outcome. Here is our program outcome that we are meeting. And our purpose of this paper is to analyze and evaluate current healthcare policy and legislative issues and the effects on the delivery of care. So for your directions, everyone, or you will be this week, selecting a bill or a legislative that you're wanting to analyze and to look further into. So whatever bill that you have chosen for discussion board number 2, that's what you are going to be completing for this assignment. So whenever you're looking at this paper, you're wanting to find out, the first thing that you should do is understand, what is this problem trying to fix? So for instance, several of you are doing the Safe Staffing Act, or for the nursing shortage. And so what is that problem they're trying to fix? Is there patient outcomes issues that you need to look at? Are we seeing negative patient outcomes due to low staffing? Are we seeing a nursing burnout, or I should say not retention of nurses? Is there a nursing shortage? So what is the problem that this legislation is trying to resolve? And some of you may have different perspectives, so don't feel that if someone else has, it's because patient outcomes. Someone else has put because that we are seeing a decrease of nurses entering the nursing field, and a lot of nurses are leaving the fields after a year of practice. So just look and see what the bill is trying to fix. And then I want you to conduct a literature review of that issue or problem. So say you feel that the safe staffing is causing a decrease in patient outcomes. So do a literature review of how staffing affects patient outcomes. I want you to have at least 2 scholarly references to support that there really is an issue or problem. So really look into the scholarly references. Needs to be peer reviewed within the last 5 years. And then after evaluating the problem or issue, analyze the bill. Are you for or against the proposed legislation? So many of you have already kind of done this in your discussion board too, because you have to say if you're for or against the bill, and then you had to list 4 points. So make sure that you just kind of expound upon that. So what is the basis upon those 4 points that you are supporting the bill? So why are you for this or against that bill? We'll get to the rubric here. And then also you want to look at, find another scholar article to support your stance, so just another one of those. And then determine who the bill is going to help. Will it hurt anyone? Who are the winners and losers if this legislation is passed? So for instance, the Safe Staffing Act. Maybe that's going to be a winner for our patients, maybe it'll be a winner for nurses, but what about what's the financial impact that these rural hospitals are going to have to do, or long-term care? So also think about those aspects as well. Who will support this bill? Who will be against it? So again, think about those lobbyist groups that your peer had to respond to your discussion board. So maybe start looking into those lobbyist groups. Who is going to support this bill? Like the Safe Staffing, many of you have identified ANA as a huge advocate for this bill. So maybe look into what their stance is regarding this as well. Who would be against this bill? And then lastly, how can you advocate for change or influence policy in general for this specific bill? Think about organizations, groups, committees, or lobbyists you could reach out to. So think about, if this bill's getting ready to go to be voted on, what congressman could you reach out to? What maybe group that you could join or participate in that would help strengthen that change in the policy? And make sure that you identify the correct legislator who you would contact to discuss this bill with, because we will use that for your next assignment. So kind of looking at the rubric, you have 15 points are devoted straight for your grammar and APA. Again, here all your scholarly references must be peer-reviewed and within the last 5 years. You should have at least a total of 3 or more for this paper. Once you start off with your introduction, and remember, introduction is not a heading, so the very second page of your paper should start your content of your paper. In the beginning is your introduction, but you do not use the introduction heading. You should just have the title of your paper in the center, like we have talked about previous classes and in our APA workshops. So one paragraph, I want you to identify the problem and provide a summary of what the paper is going to include. So what are you going to discuss in this paper? This kind of just lets the reader know what is expected, what they're going to expect to read in that paper. Your next paragraph or your next content of your paper, where it should start, should state the problem. And I want this to be a first level heading. It doesn't have to necessarily be state the problem. Your problem could be nursing shortage. Your problem could be lack of access to care. Whatever the problem is, that should be your first level heading. And then identify what it is the problem in at least 2 to 3 paragraphs, 2 scholarly articles to support that this is an issue in healthcare. And then your next one should be selected bill. I want that first level heading to be the actual bill. It could be H.R., the number of the bill, and then the title of the bill could be your next first level heading. So analyze, present the bill, tell us, describe the bill, what the bill is proposing, where is it at state or federal level, and then what legislator is proposing the bill. So who introduced this bill? Again, you should have this from discussion board 2. And where is the bill currently in the legislative process? So it's about 1 to 2 paragraphs. The next paragraph or the next content of your page should be your stance. This can be written in first person because this is where you're actually going to say, I support this bill or I am against this bill. So this part of your paper can be, letter A, can be written in first person, okay? Include at least 1 scholarly article to support your response, or support your stance. So if you're for or against this, again, give me a reference, give me research to back up what you're evaluating your stance on in this bill. The next component is your supporters and opponents. Again, identify potential supporters and opponents of the selected bill. and then also winners and losers, people that are going to be helped or maybe people that are going to be hurt by this proposed bill. So that should be 2 paragraphs, A and B, and then your for supporters and opponents. And then lastly, for your conclusion, I want you to describe how you can change or influence policy decision and advocate for change. So again, looking at different organizations that you can help advocate with, identify, make sure you include a specific legislator you could communicate with, includes maybe there's other groups besides just nursing groups. If you're looking at the Healthcare Act, maybe there's a veterans group that's also supporting for this as well through the VA. If you're looking at the Fresh Air Act, maybe there is not only just nursing or research for asthma, different things. Maybe there's a school, an education type group as well. So just kind of branch out. Think about those lobbyists that the students have wrote on your response, and then also look at the legislators and then look at what other groups that you can do to help advocate for change. Again, this could be 1 paragraph I have on there, but it may take up 2. So just again, I want it to be concise, this paper, to the point, but also make sure you include the important, relevant information that is required for the paper. And it's worth 100 points. So again, your first draft is due week 7, your peer review will be due week 8, and then your final health policy paper will be due week 12. So you have a little bit of time there to make any changes or add things to that paper as well. For your health policy presentation, it's basically you're taking the information that you gained from the paper and putting it into a presentation. Again, we want a voice over on each slide of your health policy paper. These are a way to disseminate your findings to help share, because everyone is looking at one bill. But it's nice that if I'm doing Safe Staffing Act, I can go look at another student's presentation regarding the Fresh Air Act or the Veterans Access to Care. So that helps me learn as well. So make sure that you look at the presentations of your other students. You will need to respond to at least 3 other peers' presentations and provide a meaningful response to your peer. Your presentation itself should be 5 to 7 minutes. Again, I don't want your whole paper should not be copy and pasted to these slides. I just want bullet points on each of these slides. And I want your voice over on the slide to actually explain the information to us as well. So again, the rubric is pretty self-explanatory, what I want on each slide and what you should be discussing for those. And again, that's 100 points. And then there's the 30 points for your 3 peers' response to your presentations. All right, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And if you have any questions regarding anything else for the course, feel free to email me or call me as well.